What is up, everybody? This is the Wild Nutrition Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Heskett, and this is episode 111. We are here today with another Coffee Talk Friday, so we're going to get like 15 minutes on the clock, and here we go. So, happy Friday. It's the last Friday of December. It's December 29th when, it's the day before, actually, when I'm recording this. Today, when the episode is released, the release date of the episode is December 29th. It is right before New Year's. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do, because that's a giant gray area. And if you want to learn what you should do, well, you're going to get that out of this episode by, process of elimination. But that is actually having more like a one-on-one conversation with myself or Alex. But here's what not to do. Because I think it's easier to be like, don't do these few things. And then it's like, there are a lot of other options rather than here are all the things you can do. And then you kind of have to like figure it out. So here's what not to do. So everyone's going to go through, you're going to have the New Year's thing. Everybody's talking about New Year's resolutions. You're seeing goal setting. Everyone is coming out of December after eating way too much food, spending time with family, not getting enough exercise in. It's dark. It's cold. You're like, I want to lose weight, or I want to get in shape. I want to get healthy. Whatever the goal is, you're kind of coming out of a very busy time of year into a time of year where your schedule kind of opens up a little bit. And it is also like you're just riding the trend of everyone else doing the New Year's resolution. Now, I'm not a New Year's resolution person, but I do realize that for myself and a lot of other people, all of a sudden your schedule really opens up. December, that end of Thanksgiving time into now, it's a very busy time of year. That the last 6 weeks have been very, very busy. You've had limited time for yourself. And now it's like, oh shit, all of that just went away. Now I can focus on me a little bit. So things not to do. One, don't overhaul your life. A lot of people are like, I'm super motivated right now. And what we know about motivation is it's going to go away. Just look back at years and years and years where you've tried to do this. Every time after a few weeks, motivation disappears. And you're like, well, I just need to be disciplined. Like, discipline takes time to build. You don't just like rush into discipline. You can't like install discipline into your brain. I mean, that'd be cool as shit, but you can't do that. You have to build it over time, and building discipline takes longer than motivation lasts. So you can't white knuckle through motivation, which will at most last about 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. For most people, motivation's gone within 3 weeks. So you got 21 days to kind of ride out motivation. If you don't start building habits within that time, that becomes a problem if you're relying on motivation. Now, if you don't rely on motivation, then it doesn't matter. Motivation just is a time where you can dial up your training, kind of like get things kickstarted, and then you use habits and lifestyle change to help build long-term discipline. So again, what not to do, rely on habits or rely on motivation. Sorry. You want to rely on habits. Rely on motivation. Yes, you're motivated right now. Motivation is great to get the ball rolling, but don't rely on it. If you rely on motivation, you are building a house of cards and one little speed bump, which is usually, take notice this year. Take notice. I'll probably do an episode later, closer to this date anyways. Take notice of how many people fall off track 3 weeks into, like third week of January. Because we see this all the time when we do 21-day challenges. Like everyone's really great week 1. Week 2, people start falling off. And then week 3, it's like crickets. Like 50 to 60% people fall off, which is why I don't like doing them. But the other thing that pops up is Super Bowl. See how many people fall off track at Super Bowl because they never built habits and everything. And they have this mindset of being perfect. And Super Bowl comes, they're not perfect, and then they're done. Then they fall off track and they don't get back on until the next January. So coming back to it, don't rely on motivation. 2, don't set a goal being perfect. I did a reel on this yesterday. You're human. I'm human. Everyone else is human. You know what humans are? They're not perfect. We never will be. You've never been perfect ever in your life. Congratulations. You are allowed to have mess ups. You're allowed to have times where you slip up. You are allowed to be imperfect. Congratulations. I don't know if you needed to hear that today, but you are allowed to mess up. Okay. So we got that out of the way. If you set a goal of being perfect, you are setting an unreachable goal. I want to have the perfect diet. I want to have the perfect workout plan. It doesn't exist. So chasing perfection is either going to set you up for failure and or is also an excuse, yes, an excuse for you to not take action because you will always be in research mode trying to find the perfect diet, the perfect time, the perfect workout plan. When I find that, I'll get started. But it doesn't exist because there's too much nuance, which is why I said instead of telling you what to do, because that would be a 3-part series, each an hour long, potentially, we can instead dial in, because I would have to speak generally across my entire audience and not just like you specific as a human. But instead, I can tell you what not to do. And I can speak generally across everyone who might be listening. So you, right now listening, know, don't fucking do this. So don't set up a plan to be perfect. Also, don't overhaul your entire lifestyle. Remember, your goal, if you are trying to set a goal other than maybe like compete in a race or something, but if you have a goal of like, I really want to get in shape and stay in shape. I want to lose weight and keep it off forever. I want to improve my health markers, blood pressure, cholesterol, etc. You need to be able to maintain that lifestyle that you set up long term without motivation. So think of like, instead of being like, oh, during the perfect time, think of what just went on in December and everything. Are you going to be able to maintain the no sugar diet, the I must work out 7 days a week, plus I'm going to do cardio 7 days a week? Are you going to be able to maintain eating a very specific pattern with no deviance? And that's the key point, because I deviate all the time. So can you do that? Most people, it's going to be a hard no. So don't overhaul. Instead, let's make slight, small changes to your lifestyle, which will snowball over time to bigger and bigger changes. So instead of trying to overhaul and do everything at once, maybe it's, okay, your steps are 2,000 a day. Let's start by trying to get you up to 7,500. Okay, your steps are, or your water intake is like nothing. Let's start by working our way to drinking half your goal weight in ounces of water. You don't eat veggies at each meal. Let's change that. Let's try to eat veggies at each meal. Let's have a quarter of your plate protein, half your plate veggies moving forward. Let's start with one thing and do that one thing. Guess what? That's going to branch out to other areas. If you start eating better, you're going to have more energy. So then all of a sudden you have more energy, you have more motivation to get your steps in, or you have the energy to go work out. If you start with the workout part, all of a sudden you're going to realize, hey, my workouts are much better when I eat well versus when I don't eat well. So I'm going to start focusing more on my diet because my workouts feel better when I do that. Hey, my recovery is much better when I get enough sleep. I don't have as many cravings when I get enough sleep. So I'm going to focus more on getting sleep. You might not be focusing on those goals. So let's just take the workout example. You're going to the gym. You notice, hey, when I eat a certain way, I feel better. My workouts are better. So without much effort, you start to change your eating habits. Hey, when I sleep, I recover better. I see better results in the gym. I feel better. I'm more motivated. I can push it harder in the gym. So instead of fucking around, you're like, I don't want to mess up tomorrow's workout, so I'm going to get more sleep in. Hey, when I'm hydrated, I get a better workout. So these other habits that you're not really focusing on, you're kind of changing them in the background. And then when you're like, hey, I got this workout thing down really well, I think it's time to change up my diet and dial things in. Like, you've already kind of started that. So it's not totally overhauling everything. You're just like, okay, now I'm just actually focusing. Oh, I see, like, I'm not losing weight, if that's your goal, because I'm having a few too many snacks. Or I'm not getting enough protein, I'm not getting enough fiber. So all you have to do is go in and make a few tweaks rather than like, All right. Well, I didn't put any focus whatsoever on here, so I'm going to have to start there. And some people that is. Some people it's like I really have not focused whatsoever on my diet. It's like, okay, that's fine. But now we're not trying to do the diet and the workout thing at the same time. We're just doing you got the workout thing dialed in. So now we get to focus on the nutrition, because the workout thing is not taking any mental energy really away. You don't have to be like, when am I working out? Like, what if am I working out this week? It's like, no, it's when am I working out this week? What days? Am I going to make my schedule work for it? Not, should I work out? Should I not? I don't know. So that's how you build habits long term, and you make lifestyle change, which doesn't feel like you're making a lifestyle change, because you just notice, hey, like I feel better, I perform better, I get results better when I do these other things, which ultimately get me closer and closer to my end goal. And it doesn't need to be perfect right off the bat. Again, perfection isn't real. So you don't have to have the perfect diet to see results. I think a lot of people think things are like a light switch, like you're either doing all of them or it's not worth it. You're not going to see any results. It's like, no. Yes, if you got everything dialed in, you might see results a little bit faster than someone else. But if you just do something, you will see some results. So you can just do that. The next thing is dealing with your identity. So making sure that as you do this, you start to change over your identity from someone who is not healthy, someone who doesn't take care of themselves, someone who isn't in shape, like whatever the negative language you use, you start using positive self-talk, and you start viewing yourself as someone who is fit and in shape. And maybe that is you have a goal of running a half marathon, and you start viewing yourself as a runner, even though you might not have the quote unquote stereotypical look of a runner. You're like, no, I'm a runner. This is what I do. This is how I identify. Think about whatever identities do you have right now. So for example, myself, I'm a coach identity. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. Okay. I'm a weightlifter. Like, I prefer weightlifting over other activities. I like hiking. I like outdoorsy stuff. I like gardening. I like hunting. Those are, main defining things. So when you say those things, there's a thought of, here's what, if I define myself as a dad, here are the things that dads do. If I define myself as a coach, here are the things that coaches do. If I define myself as a podcaster, here are the things that podcasters do. So think about your identity. What you probably have, whatever you do for a job. If you're a mom, dad, spouse, you're dating, you're single, whatever, you have these certain things. But if you have those negative things of like, so mine that I work on is like, which tends to hold me back, is I'm introverted. Okay. So let's maybe work on like not being totally like socially awkward and just quiet, and not having the negatives of introversion, but also realizing that I need time to recover from things. So you need to figure out those things for you. What are the labels that you have that are holding you back? Like, so a great example is the mom and dad one. So I'm a mom. Moms don't have time. Moms, you go on social media and like, moms are overstimulated. We have mommy wine culture, and you just don't have time. And there's literally the message that gets blasted on social media 24/7 in front of moms. And the algorithm sees that you started looking at mom content, so it's just blasting that over and over. And so next thing you're like, yeah, I'm an overstimulated mom with zero time. And you're just like doom scrolling social media in your free time. So you start to believe that. So every identity has negatives to it. We want to minimize whatever those identities are. I'm not saying being a mom is bad. I'm saying social media has blasted the negative aspects that come with some of these identities in our faces. So, for example, being a dad might be, it's not as much. I see more with moms. And maybe that's just because guys don't post as much on social media, but I see it more with moms. I see a lot of single dad stuff, and I can't relate to it. So I'll be honest there. I don't relate. But it might be So like entrepreneurship, and that might be like, oh, you need to grind it out, grind it out, grind it out. So that might be if you work a corporate job and you're like, oh, you need to grind it out or you won't get that promotion, or you need to do this, you need to work overtime without pay and blah, 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 blah. So there's all these different aspects of, there's the timer, of social media with your identity, because you're viewing that stuff because you relate to it, you identify with it, and social media tends to send negative stuff your way. So we find that for every, like, this is why Twitter is so toxic. Negative stuff gets more interaction, and misinformation gets more interaction. So the algorithms work by the more interaction something gets, the more reach it gets. Well, anytime there's something very negative with misinformation, people go to the comments correcting it. Problem is, people go to the comments correcting it, and thus the algorithms see that, hey, people are interacting with this post. We should push it out to more people. And yes, most people with half a brain are going to go and look at the comments, but so many people just view the video or whatever and move on and just take it at face value. It's like, oh shit, okay. The last thing is, don't do anything drastic. I know I kind of went off on a little bit of tangent there, but the last thing is just don't do anything crazy and drastic. All the changes you want are going to take time. I know you don't want to hear that, but if you want to put on muscle, it is a slow process. You want to lose weight, it is a slow process. Well, and when I mean weight, I mean body fat. I can have you drop a ton of weight very quickly within a week or two. We can do a water fast for 72 hours, which is terrible. We can, where you're just going to poop things out, and then, yeah, you're going to be down weight because you're not consuming food. We can do what bodybuilders do and manipulate your water and basically dehydrate you, and you will drop weight, like 10, 15 pounds in extreme cases, or up to 20 pounds. Fighters do it all the time, getting ready for like UFC matches. You can drop weight easy. Dropping body fat is going to take longer. If you want to get into a level of shape that is commendable by the vast majority of the population, that the majority of people can't do, it's going to take time. So don't do anything thinking that, oh, in 21 days, in 2 weeks, in 3 days, even 6 weeks, that I am going to drastically change everything and get all the results I want. So for me personally, my experience with building muscle, it took me 3 years to go from 150 to 185. It took me another 5 years to go from 185 to 205 building muscle. 8 years. That's an 8-year journey for one goal. For losing body fat, I don't have as much body fat as most people, but I'm going to give myself at least 12 weeks with the caveat of going as long as 16 weeks if I need. 16 weeks is, things pop up. I can't focus on my diet at the time, whatever. I get sick, etc. as we go into a time of year where a lot of people get sick. By the way, if you have kids and they go back to school and you're trying to start something new, there's a good chance at the very beginning of your journey, kids are going to come back and get the whole house sick. After everyone's away for Christmas vacation, everybody comes back together. Surprise, everybody's sick again. That can throw people off. So don't fall for false promises. Take a look around and look at the people who really have results. Because there's not really any hacks left. There's not. You can look around, and if you fall for something where it's like, oh, get results in like 21 days, fix your metabolism in 7 days. It's not a thing. It doesn't work like that. And usually it's selling some sort of supplement, and you can go and look up all the ingredients of the supplement. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is most supplements are a waste of money for the average person. Now, we're talking on biohacking and trying to get the last itty bitty little bit of results, or we're talking specific situations. Supplements have their place. I'm not anti-supplement. I am anti-bullshit. So you can use free resources like examine.com to look up how effective supplements are, and then you can look up what the effective dose is. So the last thing here with supplements, there's a minimum dose that you need to take for something to work. Think of it like if you're taking a painkiller, like ibuprofen or aspirin or anything like that. And it's like, to be honest, I don't know what the dosage for ibuprofen is. Let's just say you take a medication and the effective dose is 100 milligrams. You're like, okay, that is what I need to take to get any effect. And you can take up to, say, 300 milligrams. I'm not saying any specific pain. Don't take this. I'm saying some general imaginary medication. And you can take up to 300 milligrams for this medication to work for you. If you take 10 milligrams, it doesn't do jack shit. But that is what a lot of supplement companies do. They take these expensive ingredients, sprinkle them in, and then you're like, oh, see, it has this. This makes it extra special. Meanwhile, they're just selling it to you because you see it in there. You're like, it's in here, therefore it works. And it's like, nope. Not an effective dose. So please go. And usually this is where you're not buying a single ingredient supplement. If you want to save money and you want to get more effective supplements, buy more single ingredient supplements. You want to take something for sleep, buy magnesium. Don't buy some sleep supplement which is going to have magnesium in it. You need melatonin, get melatonin. The exception would be like multivitamin, where you have multiple vitamins and minerals, but don't get like a multivitamin which also has a greens powder in it. Somewhere there has to be a compromise, or somewhere it's going to be really expensive. If you want a greens powder, get a greens powder. If you want a multivitamin, get a multivitamin. Have them separate, or you're going to pay a shitload of money. Like Athletic Greens is like ridiculously expensive, which you can do if you have that extra cash, but at the same time, like you don't, it's more of a convenience thing than actually like the supplement's super effective. If you need omega-3s, buy an omega-3 supplement. Don't buy something else where omega-3s are included. Try to buy more single ingredients. Common things that are a waste of money are going to be is going to be pre-workouts, fat burners, certain like mental stimulation type things, metabolism boosting, that's in air quotes right now, supplements, libido enhancers, things like that, where you're kind of like, I don't know what to take. You type it into Amazon, you type it into Google, it pops up and you're like, this supplement is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to get that. It's like, yeah, you fell for their marketing. You can, and I'm not saying those supplements aren't properly dosed, but usually the properly dosed ones are going to be more expensive, and everything needs to be labeled on the back. So you can go and look on the back, look up what the minimum effective dose is. That's what it's called, minimum effective dose. Or you can just type, how much of X ingredient do I need to take for it to be effective? So you can look up all the ingredients, and if they all are like at an effective dose, you can take it. But if it's not, then it's a waste of fucking money. You're like, oh, no, I'm not spending $30 a month for something that isn't going to work at all. It's just going to give me a placebo effect. For example, like libido enhancers are a great one for that, where it's like, okay, if I take this, I'm going to get horny. So you take it, and then you're like, I'm thinking about sex. I'm thinking about sex. I'm thinking about sex. All of a sudden, guess what? Your libido might get a little bit enhanced because you take something, and then it starts to cause you to think about it. So you're like, oh, when I take this, it causes a chain reaction event of I take it, I start to think about sex. I'm sorry if there's kids in the car, but I think about this. So therefore, I want sex. My libido is enhanced. Therefore, the supplement works. When I don't take it, I don't think about it. Therefore, my libido is not enhanced. With metabolism boosters, a lot of times it works by, hey, I take this, my metabolism is boosted. I want to make sure I get the biggest bang for my buck out of this. So I'm also going to watch my diet. I'm also going to make sure I work out. I'm also going to try to limit alcohol and get enough sleep. So was it the metabolism boosting bullshit supplement you spent $80 on, $90 on? Or was it the fact that you started working out, you started watching what you eat, you limited alcohol, you got enough sleep? It was the latter. If you didn't get that, it was not the metabolism boosting supplement. So the common ones are going to be things that have multiple ingredients. Not saying that they're all like that. There's certain ones that are still good. Generally, you're going to pay more for it. They might be $60, $80, $90 for it. But you're paying for someone to put those ingredients together. A lot of times you're paying for someone to market. You can instead just buy single ingredients, look up what you need to take, and take that. And then always make sure that there's third-party testing because there's a lot of scammy supplements out there. So with that being said, that's today's episode of what not to do in 2024. Let's move away from all the bullshit of the diet industry, of the MLM industry, and let's move towards creating a better, happier, healthier you in 2024, where you get the health freedom, the food freedom that you want and deserve. As always, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you have a wonderful Friday, and I hope your New Year's is amazing. I'm going to be having fun, though I don't know if I'll make it up, stay up the entire time. Who knows? I don't know. And as always, if you like the episode, make sure to go leave a review really quick. Drop a review, rated 5 stars, as that helps push the show out for more people to find. And then do check out the links down below. If you don't follow me on social media, make sure you go give me a follow on Instagram or TikTok. There's our Facebook group down below as well, which is free to join, and we do a weekly live in there every single week. And as always, we have the free guide down below. So if you're like, I'm ready to make a change, I just need a little bit of guidance, you can, of course, apply for coaching down below, as well as we're going to be taking new clients in the new year. But there's also the free guide with a workout guide, a nutrition guide, and a mindset guide down there. So if you would rather start with that, see if you can do it on your own first, I commend you, go for it. And then the coaching link is also there if you're like, you try it for a little bit and you're like, you know what? I just need the accountability and support from someone else. Let's go that route. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys.